Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another Mech Merlin build stream. Thank you, everyone, who is joining in for the first hour. Tonight, as you guys can see, we are building another TKL. This time, it is a TKL currently on group buy over at Click Clack. It is called the Tohsi Industrial Design Hans80 version 2.1. $650, and as you can see from the pictures, it is a very retro inspired keyboard. It's got retro inspiration, but when I look at this, it seems like a very busy design, if you know what I mean. Kind of reminiscent of the mode keyboards. See lots of little design elements all around. They all seem to be aesthetic. That's really pretty on the back. And yeah, this thing over here, you guys can see from the very bottom, that is a wrist rest. But yeah, for 650 bucks, you get to choose between 3 colorways. You can choose the classic, which is what I got, the silver, and the pink. So with the wrist rest, it goes up to 650. Without wrist rest, it drops to 530. And you can also choose between a 1.6mm hot swap flex cut or non-flex cut PCB. For plates, you can also pick between flex cut and non-flex cut, but looks like you only have FR4 in terms of plate material. Group buy is currently running and is ending on November 17th. Tonight we are building it with the Haimu and Gion HG clear linear switches. This is a PC top, PC bottom switch with palm stem. At first I thought, I'm like, is this a prototype? Because it comes like not in a nice fancy case like I've been used to. But it comes in this styrofoam thing. It was wrapped in this. Okay, here is the wrist rest, I guess. It looks like that's feet. An F13 key. It is a heart-shaped keycap. These are switches of some sort. Items pack. What is inside the items pack? A bunch of items. Okay, I see some Allen wrenches here. Then what's this? Another items pack. I don't even know what these are. But these look to be hopefully extra screws. And what is this? I have never seen keyboard parts like this before. Okay, this one looks like a daughter board of sorts. Doesn't seem to have any kind of protection. I see like resistors on it. I see a resistor and I see a capacitor. And 2 other resistors. So that doesn't look like any form of ESD protection, over current or over voltage protection that like I know of. Maybe it's on the PCB. There's another long foot of sorts. FR4 plate with flex cuts. Okay, so this looks to be the non-flex cut PCB. Or sorry, the non-flex cut plate. Okay, I don't use ISO. This guy can go away. Okay, you got your PE foam. I will probably use the PE foam. Yeah, I don't think I'll use the flex cut PCB, so that means the actual PCB, the one that I want, is probably inside. I suspect that's a PCB in there. I just have to get to it somehow. Okay, is that all I need to remove the top? Looks like it's coming off. There we go. Only took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Only 12 screws to take the top off. This is the plate I want. Oh, cool. Well, there we go. I guess this is my serial number. It's serialized. And does this support QMK? Yep, no QMK and no VIA. This is, I'd say, proprietary software. Let's see, which foams do I want? I want PE foam. Because the plan right now is to go with non-flex cut PCB, but go with flex cut plate. And we will have plate foam in between. All stabs are in, including my dreaded right shift, full-size right shift. Like I said earlier, I'm gonna do a fully foamed build. Going to be using a non-flex cut PCB. The reason for that is because I do like stiffer feeling boards. What's wrong with this plate? Does it not like the stabilizers I chose? Holes for the plate for the stabilizers are very like precision cut, so you need to push them down over each of your stabs. These two guys here, the enter key and the right shift, they're having a hard time going over them. Okay, something's wrong. The cutout for the enter key for the stabilizer is wrong for the stabilizer that I put in, but the stabilizer only goes in one way. Okay, did I use the wrong plate? No, this is clearly an ISO plate. Okay, how about the solid plate? Okay, solid plate is cut the same way. The plate is telling me that this guy has to be swapped the other way. So the plate is wrong. Is that on all the plates? Okay, on both ANSI plates, yeah, it's wrong. It's wrong on the ISO plates too. File it down. Okay, so the thing with FR4 is, this isn't something I can do indoors, because FR4 is very caustic. If I were to file it down right now and I happen to inhale it, you know, unless I can hold my breath for a full however long it takes, right? It's really bad for you. That's supposed to be cut out like that. So what ends up happening is I can't fit this over. And it's crazy because they chose to make these very form-fitting. Couldn't they have just made it bigger so it accommodated both? You know, then they wouldn't have had to worry about this. But it's crazy that it's also on the ANSI and on the ISO plate. And unfortunately, you need the plate to build this board, because the plate is where the bead gaskets go. So, LuxKnight, do you remember if Alex Soto's had the same messed up plates? I don't see how he could have built his. Let me go look at his channel really quick. I'm sure it's on there. He's got the same plate as me, so I wonder how he did it. Did he just force his way in?
They're just really tight. Yeah, okay, they're really tight. So plate alignment's not something I'm really loving on this. They fit, but they're not the best of fitment here. If this ends up being in the
He forced it.
I doubt it is.
He forced it. He totally forced it. Okay. Alright. I guess we'll force it too. Just for everyone's edification, you see that little nub there? Underneath stabilizer? That little nub? That nub points to where the wire enters. So based on the enter key here, the nub is on top. So it says that the wire has to enter from the top. But if you look at my enter key, the wire enters from the bottom. So the plate is wrong. Let's see if I can force it. I'd say if this was a metal plate, this would be impossible to force. But the fact that it's a very bendable plate, if this was like a plastic plate even, then I'd be more comfortable forcing it in. Our cherry clip-in stabilizers, thinner than Owlabs. LuxKnight says, I think Owlab stabs were a hair larger than TX or cherry. I would believe you. I would totally believe you. But yeah, at this point, I can't even push the plate down because of this and this. What I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna do something that I've done before, actually. Who says you need a stabilizer for 2 U keys anyway? Or even for 2.25 U keys, right? We're just not gonna have a stabilizer for that enter key. I'm gonna build this board without a stabilizer on the enter key. There we go. Now it fits perfectly. Yeah, hopefully if anyone spends $600 on this board, that plate will be fixed. There we go, guys. I think this turned out pretty good. Yeah, not bad. I am surprised. Very surprised that it worked out. Not bad, right? This is Canon Keys Bonkers. Yeah, see, so that color kind of matches these, maybe? Looks pretty good. Let's see how this guy types. Okay, this is the Tohsi Industrial Design Hans80 keyboard that's built with an FR4 plate that has flex cuts in it, a PCB that has no flex cuts, it's got PE foam, it's got case foam and plate foam, and it is running the Haimu and Gion HG switches, which is a PC top, PC bottom, and palm stem, Canon keys, PBT cherry profile keycaps called Bonkers. So here we go, let's do our first typing sounds. Yeah, it actually sounds pretty good to me. Though the one thing I noticed right away is like it actually causes my wrist to hurt a little bit. I wonder if this typing angle is, or this front height is higher than I'm used to. I just did like a 100-word typing test, and by the time I got halfway through, I could feel my wrist start to get sore. I would say this is probably like, I'm comfortable up to 19mm front height. So I would guess this is maybe like 20-ish, 21, 22 possibly. And in terms of typing angle, I'd say this might be an 8, which is like the top of my most comfortable typing. Possibly even a 9. Definitely feel it even when resting my hands on it. So let's pull out the wrist rest. Oh, that's cold. Whew. It is currently 46 degrees Fahrenheit here in Seattle, or 8 degrees Celsius. So touching this, it's actually fairly cold. But here, let's do that typing test again, this time with the wrist rest. But yeah, that did make it feel better. I just don't like the idea of having to pair a wrist rest with a keyboard. Like, I think it like ruins it some aesthetic. But I think for my physical, for like how I'm built, I will need a wrist rest to continue typing on this keyboard, which is unfortunate. But how about that enter key, guys? See, remember, my enter key has no stabilizer on it, but yet I don't feel it. Even if I press it on the leftmost corner, it doesn't feel like it's lacking any stabilization. or even on the rightmost corner. It's not lacking any stabilization either. Still feels pretty darn good. I do notice with this board though is that each row does not have a consistent sound. It's not a very consistent sounding board, unfortunately. It's still the same kind of sound signature, but each row is just different. Most boards will have like a different sound per row, but this one, like I noticed it right away. It was a very prominent difference. Let's see, I do have some final thoughts on this. So yeah, this is a busy board, a very busy board in terms of all the little gadgets, all these aesthetics, all these, what do you call these, accents. So one thing that gets me about boards like these is that when the name of the board or the designer or the manufacturer is emblazoned all around it. So look at that. Tohsi Industrial Design. Tohsi Industrial Design. Tohsi Industrial Design. Hans Keyboard. Hans Keyboard. And when you open it, inside it still says Tohsi Industrial Design Hans Keyboard. I feel like it's kind of tacky, to be honest with you guys. It's a little tacky to like have the designer's name and the brand emblazoned all around it. Like for example, take a look at the Reverie, right? Sure, you gotta have the name of the board somewhere, right? You guys can probably barely even see that, but it says Reverie in the corner. You turn it around, you don't see Upas's name on it, you don't see Cannon Key's name on it, right? I think this is very classy. It's a very busy board, a very loud board. And as I was building it, I'm just like, what are all these parts even for? They're just like accents to make the board cool, I guess, which I think they succeed in that. I think it's a pretty cool looking board, but it's still a keyboard at the end of the day, right? I sure hope that this is not the final production run because the plate was whacked. They were intentionally making each of the cutouts form fit the stabilizers and the orientation that they were in, but they messed up on the enter key. Instead of having the wires entering in from the bottom, they cut it out so that the wires entered in from the top, which means you can't really use the plate. However, if you have clip-ins, and if you have an FR4 plate, which this guy does have, you can kind of force your way through, kind of like what Alex Sodas did. For me though, since I was using screw-ins, I could not force the plate down, so I omitted the stabilizers entirely. Well, just for this enter key. And as you guys can see, it doesn't really affect it. So do you really need stabilizers for keys that are 2.25U and under? Depends on how you type, I guess, and the height of your keycaps. But yeah, what else can I say about this? No QMK and no VIA. That's very important to me because I do like to program my boards, but at the same time, my boards are programmed in a very basic fashion. I don't even use like half the features that like QMK has to offer. So something like this would probably work well just for me. This board did not come with like an instruction manual. There was no link for a online instruction manual, no nothing. I was like basically guessing on how to take things apart and how to put it together and what goes where. For $600, I don't think I could justify this board for $600. There's just so many questions, there's so many things that I'm like, I'm not sure why, you know? Maybe if this was in the $400 range, then I would readily recommend this. But at $600, like how it's going for right now, I'm a little bit hesitant to tell anyone, like, oh, you guys want a TKL? Try out this board. Unless you really like this design, unless you really want the included wrist rest, which might I add is $120 extra, I really wouldn't go for this board. Especially since Matrix is releasing another TKL soon, Constant's currently in group buy, and Origami soon, I believe. Ah, okay. But alright everyone, thanks for joining in. I know this was a longer stream than usual. It was not planned to be a longer stream than usual, but as you As you saw, if you were here from the very beginning, I had a lot of difficulty with this board. And it's a hot swap board even. So my next stream will be next Tuesday. I will be rebuilding another board that I've had on my plate for a long time. I have built it with a brass plate. I've built it with a polypropylene plate, and neither plates have satisfied me. So on Tuesday, I will be rebuilding the chapter 1 with an aluminum plate, and hopefully that will do the job. But yeah, if you guys are interested in that, tune in next Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. PDT. And yeah, meanwhile, if this board catches your attention, check it out over on Click Clack or even over at WinMX or WinMix. I will see you when I see you, and if you celebrate Halloween, make sure you come up with a cool outfit. Alright everyone, goodbye.